It's me and Errol Jarrett, and we have James Ali Bashir, and we're going to talk some boxing. It's always good to have Mr. Ali Bashir here. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. How you guys doing?
Well, we're doing good, man. We're doing all the better to hearing your input on the latest things that's been going down. So, okay, let's just start with the Tyson incident. Now, I know it's not exactly ring related. What was your thoughts on the incident?
Well, I thought that the guy blindsided him. I think that was something that should have been discussed before the show started. He shouldn't have interjected that into the show during the live airing of the show. If he wanted to say something concerning that BS conviction that Mike had, he should have addressed that issue before the interview began. So what he got, he deserved, and he's quite fortunate that he didn't get more, because I worked with Mike 3 years up close and personal, and Mike had a lot of different personalities, you know. Of course, he was being defensive a lot of times against people because everybody wanted something from him. But like I said, I had the heavyweight Maurice Harris, and Maurice and I worked with Mike Tyson a lot over 3 years, and we worked with him in Texas, Las Vegas, Connecticut, you know, Arizona. We were on places with Mike. So we were in Las Vegas with him also. So, you know, I know Mike up close and personal. And he can be a very nice guy, and he can be a very emotional, angry guy. He's been through a lot. So the guy is pretty fortunate that Mike didn't really go over. I was glad that he didn't do that.
Yep, I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad he did enough. He did enough to make his point, you know.
The guy was wrong. He shouldn't have did that.
100%. So
I'm getting away from boxing for a minute. When I don't know about anywhere else in the world, but I grew up in America. You know, I grew up during the 50s and 60s, and when a black man is convicted in the United States, convictions don't hold water. Because if we have some kind of radar that we can go back to that time during the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and on, right up into modern day times, you'll find that at least 35% to 40% of the convictions that black men have in America are frivolous or fraudulent convictions. So for somebody to say, I saw a lot of talk on the internet that Mike deserved to be talked about because he's a convicted. Because somebody convict you. Convicted by who? You were convicted by a jury of who? Your peers. Your peers? No. You were convicted by the powers that be that wanted to convict you. The same thing with Joanne Chesimard, you know, Asana Shakur. She's over there in Cuba hiding now, and they call in America. They say she's the #1 wanted person on the FBI list.
Yeah.
Look who's looking for somebody to convict him. So, getting back to what the reporter did, he can't embrace a conviction because the powers that be convicted Mike. You understand? The powers that be convicted all these people. So you can't. Their convictions don't hold water. Look at all the corruption that the FBI has been involved in over the years. Look at all the corruption that the CIA has been involved in over the years. Look at all the convictions that the local police have been involved in over the years when it comes to murdering and killing black men. And then you say, oh, you were convicted of a rape. So what?
Yep.
So what? You were convicted. So that means that you did it?
That's something to everybody. That's definitely something to bear in mind.
Everybody that viewed that case, everyone that viewed that case, I guarantee you go back, if you take a census right now, 98, 99% of the people don't believe the case. So it holds. That's why the guy should have did that. So he got what he deserved.
Yeah, Mike looked like it looked like Mike was gonna attack him. Mike done well to hold it in, you know. Done well.
Yeah, he was angry. He was angry. I know him. I'm telling you, I know the guy. The guy was angry. He was really angry. He was angry with that guy, you know, and rightfully so. You know, I was angry with the guy for blindsiding him. He thought He thought he was going to make some kind of reputation for himself by doing that dumb stuff, and it backfired because nobody is supporting the guy.
Nope. Nobody.
Now the journalists are supporting what he did. So, you know, I don't feel sorry for him.
Yeah. I hear that. So let's talk about, they said he's sandbag. Let's talk about, so you was it, obviously, you're the Klitschko. What you got about our boy Anthony Joshua in camp, training with Wladimir? How did Anthony Joshua do in that, and how did that training camp go?
It went well. It went very well. I liked the training camp. I liked the chemistry of the people that was there. We had Anthony Joshua. We had Dillian White.
Yeah.
We had Kevin Johnson. We had Malik Scott. It was a really, really nice chemistry. It was a nice chemistry, you know. Dillian and Joshua, you know, they had some bad blood coming in the camp, but I'm happy to say that they left the camp united, and that was the big thing. For me, that was a happy day for me that those guys buried the hatchet and you know, they got along well throughout the camp. So I'm happy, and I'm really happy about that. If they happen to meet down the road, if any of these guys happen to meet down the road, it's business. But I don't want those guys to be in there when we're working for the heavyweight champion. I want everybody to be harmonious, everybody to laugh and joke and get the job done to maintain the heavyweight championship of the world. That's my goal, you know. So I talk to guys, and I want to say something, and quite earnestly, that those guys, Anthony Joshua, Dillian White, Malik Scott, Kevin Johnson, those guys are first class. Those guys showed me the utmost respect, and rightfully so. I'm their elder, you know, and I command that. You know, I think that it's necessary for us to go forward, and that's something that blacks seem to have gotten away from, respecting their elders. You know.
But you know what? You know what's forced Anthony, because Anthony Joshua had an interview with someone. He got really mad when they brought up Dillian White. It's because Dillian has brought up this amateur tape where he beat him, and I don't think Anthony's coping. Well, I think he's coping with it better right now. But initially, he wasn't coping with it very well. That he brought the tape up where he beat him.
Well, you know, like I said, you know. We have a reputation for getting into squabbles, going back to this stupid stuff about Biggie and Tupac. You know, we get into squabbles over small stuff that can be buried with a sneeze. You understand? So I don't want those guys, and I told them I don't want those guys to build a big bonfire over some words over an amateur fight or whatever. Bury that stuff. Let's get on with the business of being the sparring partners for the heavyweight champion of the world.
But the thing is, right? Here's the truth, though. I watched that fight. I think Dillian could give him equal hell right now.
Yeah, Dillian is a viable contender. I respect Dillian. You know.
Yep.
I don't think it would be good for them to meet right now, and I think it would be good if Dillian could get back into the mix and put together 7-8 good wins, not gimmies. I mean, good, solid wins. This is something that affects boxing now because a lot of guys are built up fighting subpar opponents, if you will, and they don't really learn how to fight because they never are put in a situation where they're threatened.
Yep.
If you look at the way Pernell Whitaker and Sugar Ray Leonard and these guys came, especially Tommy Hearns, if you look at the way they came up fighting pretty good fighters. Even though the guys weren't going to be champions, they were pretty threatening fighters, and that's what made them into the fighters that they were, because they were shaped and molded by fighting other good fighters. But now you got guys that's fighting a lot of gimmies, and then when they get to the gate, they can't fight.
Yep.
Definitely, I agree. So, yes, what's your take on Dillian White? Because, man, you and Dillian, man, I know you love Dillian's work and stuff like that. He's going to be fighting soon over this. What's your take on how far Dillian? Are you going to be training in his corner? Because I know, I don't know who's training him and stuff like that, but I know that he had some good sparring over there. Like, how far do you see Dillian going?
I think highly of Dillian White. I really do. I think highly of him. The key thing is with these fighters is to have good vision. When I say good vision, a good mindset. Trainers. Trainers. If you got somebody there that's going to train him on the logistics of boxing, step by step, like going through grade school. You're not going to have a guy that come out of the second grade and then you're going to skip the guy and put him in the sixth grade. You got to go through a step-by-step analogy on the logistics of boxing. And I think that if he has a good trainer there that can bring him along, then he'll do well. He'll do well inside of 15, 16 fights. I think he could be right there in the mix.
Yeah. I agree.
People, everything in life, and boxing is no exception to the rule, is opinionated. You have some people say, oh, he should be longer because he don't have a big amateur background, or he does have a lot of amateur fights. I mean, look at Audley. Audley had a great amateur background. Mm-hmm. He was an Olympic gold medalist, but he didn't pan out as a pro.
No.
Mark Breland was a great amateur.
Yep.
He just didn't quite turn the corner as a professional. And you never can tell. Maybe they lost the desire. Maybe Mark lost the desire after he got to the pros. I think Mark did become the welterweight champion, but did he come the junior? I think he might have won the junior middleweight belt too. I'm not certain.
I think he won the welterweight title twice. I remember him getting knocked out by Starling, and he beat one Japanese guy, and he beat Lloyd Hunnigan. But yeah, I think he might have won it a couple of times. He beat a South African, Harold Voldbrett. I know too much about him. Yeah.
Right. I don't think he won the junior middleweight title, did he?
I don't think he did.
Okay. Well, what I'm saying is you never can tell. Sometimes you have too many amateur fights, and sometimes you have too little, and sometimes you don't have none. But you can't base that, moving a fighter on how many amateur fights he's had. Because you take a guy like Tim Witherspoon, I alluded to that in another interview. Tim Witherspoon only had 13, 14 fights when he faced off with the then great Larry Holmes.
Yeah.
And then if you look at all the fights that Tim Witherspoon had after facing Holmes, he faced the who's who of the top 20, the top 10.
Yeah.
They kept on putting him in, and he panned out well. He turned out to be a two-time world heavyweight champion. So
Tim had a great Slim Robinson really trained him. Like, people don't realize Tim was really skillful. Like, the way he was blocking Holmes' jab, his head movement, like, he was a really good fighter. He's actually one of the best heavyweight. He's really good, man.
Mind you, this guy had no amateur background.
Yeah.
He had no amateur pedigree. So you can't tell. Desire makes up for a lot of things that guys don't have. When you have that desire and that focus, it makes up for a lot of things that one may not necessarily have coming to the dance.
Okay, yeah, I agree. So let's talk about your guy now, Wladimir Klitschko. So what can you go into detail as much as you can anyway about what happened to him, or is it straightforward of why he pulled out against Pulev, and then after that,
like I said, Wladimir Klitschko doesn't shy away from good sparring.
Okay.
All right. You got Anthony Joshua, you got Dillian White, you got Malik Scott, you got Kevin Johnson. You got some good sparring partners there. You understand? So and they was mixing it up pretty well. It wasn't a one-sided affair. I mean, they was mixing it up pretty well. They was giving them good work. And it just happens where he had a little ruptured bicep. That's all.
But Pulev said that it was something like he got tested about 3 times and that Vlad wasn't getting tested. And a lot of people are saying it's convenient he pulled out. So I'm not accusing him, but how do you respond to them rumors?
They're like apples. You can go to any grocery store and find them. I mean, excuses. I mean, Pulev has a right to his suspicion. You know, if he suspects something, who's to say that he doesn't have a right for suspicion? You know, I don't believe Wladimir Klitschko uses drugs or has ever used drugs as hard as he worked. Because I say, well, if he's using drugs, why the hell does he work this hard? I mean, drugs is about taking shortcuts. Am I right? Do you take drugs? You take drugs to try to get a leg up. So when you take drugs, it's not necessary to work as hard as Klitschko works. Klitschko works very, very hard. I mean, I'm hard pressed in 43 years to find any fighter at any weight that works that hard. So I'm saying, if you're using drugs and you got to work that hard, then why use drugs?
Okay.
All right. So how do you think he would have gone against Pulev? It would have been a difficult, because Pulev's quite tricky. You know, he got a lot of movement. How do you think that fight would have? How do you think that fight would have won? Obviously, with your guy.
I've spoken about Pulev to Wladimir on several occasions over the last 3 years, and I told him that this guy can fight. You know, and this guy, we need to take this guy seriously. So it's not like it's a foreign subject to Wladimir coming from me, because the two of us have, like I said, we've spoken about Pulev on many occasions. And yeah, I believe that Pulev is a viable contender and that he can cause problems simply because he believes. His mindset, he believes he belongs there. And when a guy believes, you know, it's difficult. You know, it's difficult fighting him.
Shannon Briggs. I want to. Yeah. Was some of that set up?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's genuine between Shannon and Wladimir. You know, I mean, I don't know what angle Shannon is coming from, but I do know what's going on with Wladimir. He doesn't like it. You know.
What people questioned is, how did Shannon know where he was at the restaurant? How did he know? Turn up right at the time that the press conference everywhere.
Well, obviously, somebody is probably watching the Wladimir training camp. You know, watching his moves. Maybe some kind of network is behind it. You know, it could be a whole lot of angles where people know. I mean, yeah. South Florida is not a very large place. You know.
Do you think? Go on, Beats. Do you think he could be a serious contender though?
Who?
Shannon, right now.
I think that Shannon could be a serious contender, but I do think that he's going to have to step up in the caliber of fighters that he's fighting. I do think he can get back. He's that kind of guy that has the skills, the power, the tenacity, the ring generalship. He brings a lot to the dance. So, yeah, I do think he can get back. But he's going to have to step up in the quality of fighters.
So far as you know, that all those things what Shannon Briggs is doing is authentic. Like when Shannon Briggs was eating the champ's food and you know how they get in the gym, like all that stuff. It's not the security's let him in and stuff like that. It's basically, you know, it's sort
of. Shannon trains in that gym.
Oh.
Shannon trains in that gym year round, so he's got access to that gym. He's in that gym year round. Wladimir uses it for preparations to come into his own training camp.
Okay, what about the diner then, where he was eating the dinner and he took his food?
Like I said, you never know. There's probably somebody else working with Shannon that's following Wladimir, or you know, spying on him or watching him, letting them know where it's at. I mean, I would think that somebody else was telling him something. Yeah. I don't think that Wladimir. I know Wladimir Klitschko. It's just not like him to partake in
that sort of extra curriculum.
That's not him. I know him very good.
So he was genuinely irritated. Was he really irritated?
Yeah. Wladimir's been irritated. You know, he's been irritated about him. You know, by Shannon's moves. You know, and that's exactly what it's designed to do, get under his skin. So.
It was kind of funny where he pulled the water over his head, though.
that was his anger boiling over, you know.
So let's talk about some of the opponents. They got Luis Ortiz, who just beat Latif Coyote. how do you assess his chances against Wladimir, the Cuban? Have you seen him?
Yeah, I saw him, the lefty, right?
Yeah. He looked pretty good against Latif Coyote, innit?
Yeah, because Latif Coyote came in to lay down.
Well, he came to lay down. Oh.
Even if he didn't do it psychologically, he did it with his efforts. I mean, he just got bombed out of there, So, I mean, Ortiz has got to prove more than that. He's got to fight. He's got to fight some people to solidify his position as being a viable contender to fight for the heavyweight championship.
Okay. What about the winner-ups, the Vernon and Wilder? How do you see any of their chances against Wladimir?
Wladimir Klitschko is in a room all by himself in the heavyweight division. He's in the penthouse of a skyscraper, and everybody else is on the lease in apartments below. That's how I would describe this. Because I know things about Wladimir Klitschko that nobody else knows. Other than the people that's inside the camp. I know different things about him that sets him apart from other fighters. And all those other guys in the apartments below, they can step up to the plate. But this guy, he wants to be the champion of the world. He's looking to be the champion of the world. He loves his job. It's not going to be easy to beat him. I'm not saying that he can't be beaten. I'm saying that it's not going to be very easy to beat him.
So how long is he going to continue fighting?
As far as I know, sky's the limit. He hasn't said anything to me about going out, and we talk about it regularly. I asked him one time about 2 years ago, how long would he go? He said, don't ask me no questions like that. So I left it alone.
Yeah.
What do you think of all these interim belts? Like Shagayev has got a belt, and we all know Vlad is the WBA champion. I mean, what's all that about?
I just think it's a means to make money.
But is it right though? This is the heavyweight championship.
Who's to say what's right and wrong?
Oh, come on, man.
Let me say something. I come from an era where there was a lightweight, a welterweight, a middleweight, a light heavy. That's the era I grew up in. This is what we knew. You understand? That's what it. And then all of a sudden you come in with the junior titles, the junior featherweight, and then it went from the junior featherweight to the super lightweights and super this and super that and the NBO this and the IBO that and the the MMA. It's just so much stuff going on, so many titles. And then somebody say he's an 8-time world champion. Well, with all the titles around, I don't see the difficulty in them becoming all these world champions. But we know that these titles are created to make money for the sanctioning bodies.
But look, you was in Ali's camp, man. You've seen the 70s, and you was around in the greatest era. The 70s is the greatest era. For there to be interim champions, Wladimir is the champion, right? Like that, no one should consider themselves to be able to walk around as champion while Vlad's there, in my opinion. Until they beat him, you shouldn't walk around like you're heavyweight champion.
And mind you, the guy that's the interim WBA champion, Wladimir knocked him out to become the WBA champion.
Yes.
I don't put any stock in that. For those people who don't have a history of the sport, they that stuff is all a rave for them because they don't know. Most of these people were youngsters when this stuff was started, and they don't know how it came into play, and they accept it. But hey, I don't put much stock in it.
The biggest joke is that Wladimir beat him, and it was a one-sided victory. It was one-sided. So for this guy, who did he beat again to get the thing? Ridiculous to say. I don't know. I find that unsatisfactory with the heavyweight division. The heavyweight division should be leading by example.
It's the sanctioning bodies. You know, if nobody is so much money involved in this stuff. You know, nobody is there to threaten those sanction bodies. If they had a czar, a boxing czar, overall boxing commissioner, that was just an overall commissioner of the sport, a czar that can control this stuff, they can knock down a lot of stuff. But you got interim champions, you got the silver belt, the golden belt, the do, and the da. And, you know, it's just so much going on that it becomes confusing to the average fan.
Yeah.
But Wladimir, when the smoke clears, he stands as the heavyweight champion until he's removed from that spot.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So what's the rematch with Pulev? Have they sorted out, or that's still ongoing?
The fight's going to take place on November the 15th.
Okay, cool. All right, cool.
Where is it going to take place? In Germany?
Hamburg, yes.
Okay.
Should be a good fight, man. That should be a good fight. Let's talk about your guy, Jonathan Banks, going against Taba. How you see that? Are you going to be in the corner of Banks? And how does that dynamic work? Because now he's a fighter. Who goes in his corner? Do you go in his corner at that point, or explain that one? Oh yeah.
No, I won't. Jonathan Banks has not asked me back, and even if he did ask me back, I could not be there this time because I'm here in the Ukraine training my fighter, Oleksandr Usyk, you know, who is the 2012 Olympic gold medalist at heavyweight. So I'm here training him for his upcoming bout on October 4th here in the Ukraine.
Ustinov, ain't any Joshua the gold medalist at 2012?
No, Ustinov is not. Usyk. Oleksandr Usyk, not Alexander Ustinov.
Oh, Usyk. I don't know about it.
Oleksandr Usyk won the 2012 heavyweight gold medal. Anthony Joshua won the super heavyweight.
Oh, yeah, there's two levels. Yeah, they're right. Yeah, okay. I ain't heard of this dude. So what's his record?
Right now, he's 4-0, 4 knockouts. He won the World Games twice. He won the Olympic gold medal for 2012, and he has 300 amateur fights. So we're going to go after the bread and potatoes pretty quick.
Okay, so how do you see him in the mix against the other heavyweights, the leading, like the Joshuas and the up-and-coming guys?
We're not campaigning at heavyweight. We're campaigning at cruiserweight.
Okay. All right.
How tall is he? What's his dimensions physically?
6'3.5", 205 pounds right now.
What are his strengths, would you say?
Good punching power with either hand. Just go to YouTube and you can see his fights.
Okay.
Sounds all right, man. Why is he campaigning at cruiserweight rather than heavyweight anyway? Who decided that?
It's my decision because he's 200 pounds. I mean, why? I mean, he's 27 years old. Why should he try to compete at heavyweight at this point? When the cruiserweights are right there, you are cruiserweight. You won the gold medal at 200 pounds. You're walking around the street now at 211 pounds. So why should you eat yourself up to go way up there to heavyweight? And at the end of the rainbow, you got Wladimir Klitschko. So let's stay here.
Yeah.
Try to fight and win the cruiserweight belts. Marco Huck, Hernandez, Lebedev, and whoever else is there. Let's try to win those belts. And then we move up to heavyweight 18 months, 2 years from now.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
So, you said you're not in. Are you not? So, are you in Klitschko's camp for the Povetkin fight, or you're not in that camp, or you was just talking about the Banks fight and not in his corner? Which corner are you not in?
I will not be in Jonathan Banks' corner for this upcoming fight down in Texas. He should beat Antonio Taba by decision. Jonathan's the younger guy. Jonathan knows boxing. He knows how to handle himself in the ring. But the skeptics are saying we have to wait and see what Jonathan Banks shows up.
Well, I'm gonna put my 2 cents in on that. After the last fight against the American footballer, what's his name again, man?
Mitchell.
Yeah, Mitchell. I'm gonna hedge my bets with Tava because either something he should have stopped me. There's something wrong with that fight. Every time he opened up, he looked like he could have stopped Mitchell. Then he stopped fighting. There was something I don't know what happened there. So
well, he said that his hands was hurting, you know. So I mean, you know, I wasn't the fighter. I wasn't the guy that was in the fight. I wasn't the guy taking the punches or giving the punches. I felt that he should have stepped up and took Mitchell out of there, you know. But he said that he was in pain, so that's what I'm going to accept. You know, only God knows, and only the fighter knows what happened in that ring that night. So you gotta. If you look the fight for what it is, Tava is 48, Jonathan is 32. You know, Jonathan is a puncher. He can punch. You know, Tava has never been stopped. He's a crafty, resourceful individual. So I expect a good fight here. I expect Jonathan to win a decision in this fight. But, as the skeptics say, we have to wait and see what Jonathan Banks shows up.
Yeah.
I agree. The last time we talked about Taba, you were saying Taba needs to sit down with his old. Taba just needs to sit down. He's thing, but you're right. It should be a tactical fight, man. There should be a tactic. What do you think about David Haye coming back to the heavyweight scene?
David Haye is still a young man, so you know I can see him fitting in the heavyweight scene the way it is now. I can see him fitting in there because he's a young man and he still has some athletic ability that will allow him to live in the land of the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're not too hot on Johnny Nelson, from what I gather, from you speaking to Ingram Jones.
yeah, Johnny Nelson. I just think that Johnny Nelson he's a victim of his own desires. I mean, all fighters, even myself, have been guilty. I'll sit back and watch a fight, and I'll think in my mind, I can beat that guy. You know, I've thought 1,000 times that I could beat a guy that I was watching until, you know, I said, well, you know what I'm doing? Even though I may not box again, I'm going to go inside the gym and I'm going to get in some shape just to see where I'm at. And, man, after 3 days in the gym, I say, shit, let me go sit myself down. You know, so I think Johnny's emotion, I think his ego is talking. Marco Huck is a tough guy. All right, he's a tough guy. People say they want to say about him. He's a tough guy. And he proved how tough he was when he was in there with Povetkin. He wore Povetkin out. I thought he won that fight. I thought Huck won that fight. So Johnny has always got a puncher's chance. But I just don't see him coming out after, what has been, 8 or 9 years?
I think you can beat him.
Johnny?
Yeah, because Hook lost against Povetkin because he doesn't fight inside effectively. He had to fight one. From an athletic standpoint and throwing punches, he had to fight one. I don't think his inside game, that's what he'll need to pressure an old guy like Johnny. And if Johnny has got even 80% of what he had, he could outpoint him.
I just like I like I said, I haven't watched Johnny close enough. I got to go to YouTube and examine some of his fights, and I can make a better assessment later on when I've had time to sit down and look at some of his fights. You know.
Yeah. Do you think he should have a tune-up fight first?
I think that Johnny should do what he's doing. Work for Scott Sullivan. That's what I think. And if Johnny out there listening, man, I ain't talking down on you, Johnny. I'm just saying, man, I don't want to see you get yourself hurt.
Yeah.
You getting there with a guy that's been out there and Huck fights. He fights regular.
Yeah.
He's an oiled machine. This guy fights regularly. He's not one of those champions that's going to fight in the fall. You don't see him again to next fall. This guy fights. Yeah. And he's been active over these years. He hasn't been laying around. He's been fighting. So it can be pretty difficult. If you don't crack him on the chin upside the head and get him out of there, it can be pretty difficult going down the stretch.
Oh, yeah. So, go on. Floyd Mayweather. What did you make of Floyd's performance against Maidana Saturday?
Just workmanlike. I mean, they didn't consider the paying fans because it wasn't exciting. It was just workmanlike, you know. He did what he had to do to win, but it wasn't. I mean, when you think about a welterweight fight, you're thinking Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns won. Even Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns, 8 years later, was more exciting than that.
Yeah.
Both times Tommy Hearns and Ray Leonard faced off against each other. Both times they were exciting fights. They were cliffhangers. They had you biting your nails while they were thumping, you know? So you don't get that no more, you know? It's all business out there. I'll do a little shooby-doo and I'll grab and hold you and work the clock.
Yeah. One thing I'll say against Floyd, man, like, if I compare him to Ray Leonard, forget skills, forget who's got the better resume. Ray put on way better performances in terms of excitement. He did. He was way more exciting than Floyd.
Yeah, I think that if Floyd had to fight Ray Leonard, that I don't think that he would beat Ray Leonard. He might even get knocked out. You know, I don't think that Floyd could have beat Aaron Pryor. You know, I just don't think so. I mean, Floyd might take issue with it, and I'm not disrespecting him.
Right.
I'm just looking at the styles. Aaron Pryor would never leave Floyd alone.
Yes.
He would never leave him alone. He'd be right there in his face for 15 rounds.
Yep.
Henry Armstrong would never, ever leave Floyd alone. Floyd would have to fight every second of every round against those kind of guys. And I'm not sure he can do that, especially at this time. I'm not sure if he can fight like that. Ray Leonard was a kind of a fighter that even if he was winning the fight, he wanted to end the fight with a knockout. He was always trying to get the knockout, even when he was ahead in the fight. He was trying to get a knockout.
Right.
He wasn't the kind of guy that was going to coast to the end. He wants to knock you out.
Right. You saw what Floyd done on the 12th, and he technically done the right thing. He had all the rounds bagged up, so he just skated out the last round. Ray was a showman to the last.
He did the right thing. Business-wise, you did the right thing. And again, we're not in there, so you can't blame Floyd for what he did. But looking at it from the other side, hey, what about the fans? They're paying their money. They're paying $67 a day. They're paying $67 to see somebody to not take risks. You want that blood and gut at the end to do something spectacular. This is $67 a clip.
Right.
So on the business end of Floyd's end, I can understand it there, but you got to look at it on the business end. Over here, people are getting. I don't even buy pay-per-view no more. I stopped it. I just stopped it. I just don't get enough out of it. The undercard is shady. The undercards is not exciting.
Yep.
You understand? I remember. I'm going back to the days of ABC, CBS, and NBC, where you saw barn burners on television for nothing.
Yeah.
Barn burners, man. John Conte and Matthew Saad Muhammad on national television for nothing.
That's right.
You understand? You saw barn burners on television on Channel 4 at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. You see barn burners for nothing. And now you paying all this money, and you be lucky if somebody get knocked down or get a bloody nose. Come on, man.
And the thing is, Mr. Bashir, back then you'd get the barn burners, and they wouldn't even, some of the fights wouldn't even have belts attached to them. They wouldn't need belts attached to it.
No, that you wouldn't even have belts attached to them. You'd see barn burners. I can remember sitting in a living room, and I would have 3 televisions watching 3 fights at the same time.
Wow.
With turkey, cheese, lettuce, and tomatoes, sitting in the middle watching 3 televisions. NBC, CBS, and ABC, and it'd be 3 fights on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'll be watching 3 fights at the same time.
Yeah, see? And I think it's, I don't know what, I think it started maybe in the late 80s or 90s, where I saw Azuma Nelson fighting Marcus Villasana, and in the 12th round, he had the fight sewn up, and he started dancing around the ring. But I think back in the early 80s, 70s, that wasn't acceptable, man. It's definitely not. You'd be in 60s and 50s, you'd get booed out the arena. They might not even pay you. You can't do that.
Right.
You couldn't do that stuff then.
And you look at Azuma Nelson facing off with 13, 14 fights, fighting a seasoned champion at 44, 43 fights, Salvador Sanchez.
Yeah.
In the garden. You understand? And this man came in and he was supposed to be fish food. That's why they gave him to Salvador Sanchez. We'll give you something easy here. Just knock this kid off.
Yeah.
And Zuma Nelson came in with 13 fights and nearly upset the apple cart. Everybody lost weight that night. The promoters, the managers, everybody lost weight. If you was fat that night, then you lost plenty of weight because Azuma was giving Salvador the threat of his life.
Yep.
By the time they got to the 10th round, everybody in there had their eyes open and was sweating, saying, oh, Lord, this kid is about to upset, an unknown African kid coming in and giving the champion that kind of fight.
With his uncombed afro. He just looked like, like he just came in there and just fought. You could see that the potential genius was there, man. And like...
And now you got all these pay-per-view cards, and the pay-per-views doesn't live up. The last 5 pay-per-views I paid for, I said, that's it. Every each one of them, I said, that's it. I'm not buying this shit no more. I'm not buying it no more. Every one of them, I've said it. And now for the finally last one, whichever one it was, I said, I'm not doing it no more because they're not fighting.
Yeah. Right. You've got the right man for my question. Is the lack of competitive fights down to the fighters or the promoters? I'm going to let you answer it, and then I'll chime in. Who is it down to? Who is it ultimately up to for competitive fights?
The promoters.
Not the fighters.
The promoters. Because the promoters is the guys that are saying to these fighters, you got to take it or leave it. Now, you want an opportunity? If you don't take this opportunity, we put you on the back shelf.
So you're basically... Sorry. You're basically saying the fighter doesn't have any power, doesn't have any leverage. He must have more leverage than what we're giving him credit for, surely.
Who?
The fighter.
The fighter doesn't have any leverage. Not really. They're at the mercy of those promoters. They're at the mercy of the promoter. The promoter say, look, this is what we got to present you. This is what we're going to present you with. This is what you got to go with. You understand? Al Heyman is controlling much of boxing now. He's got all the top contenders, and he's got all the guys that's right under the top contenders. You understand? And he controls the traffic on the top contention highway.
But do the fighters have a gun to their head to sign to Al Heyman? They don't.
They what?
They don't have a gun to their head to sign to Al Heyman, the fighters, do they?
No, but due to the fact that Al Heyman is getting these good paydays for them, that's a great influence. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, the fighters will pull their skirt up in a minute if you show them some money. The average fighter will.
Well, doesn't that show you then that it's the fighters really want the money rather than the competitive fights then? Because
of course they're going to do. I mean, you know, I'm saying that the promoters has a lot to do with it, but the fighters, you can't blame the fighters for getting as much money as they can.
No, of course not.
You know?
We'd all go to Al Heyman. Let's face it. If we were fighters, we'd all go to Al.
I think that we can go to Al Heyman. You know, if you're trying to secure yourself, you can't knock that. You can't knock anybody for trying to come in and secure their future to make money. There's no way that you and I can justify us saying, well, the fighter should fight. No, the first thing the fighter wants to do is how much am I getting? You understand? How much am I getting? You know? One of the old trainers said a long time ago, he said I was working with a light heavyweight, Junior Edmonds, out of New Jersey. And the trainer, Lee Black, walked in the hotel room. He said, what's the difference between a $1,000 ass whooping and a $10,000 ass whooping? And the guy said he didn't know. He said $9,000. Yep. And that makes the beating a whole lot easier to take when you got $9,000 and the other guy only got $1,000.
Yep. Sorry, go on.
Let me ask a question quickly. Going back to Floyd Mayweather, is it possible that another fighter could bite you through the gum shield on the glove? And is that, in your opinion, did that happen? I mean,
I don't know what kind of mouth guard he might have had, whether he bit him. In fact, Floyd said he bit him. You know, you got the bottom teeth that's free, and if you get the top bite on it, you can do some damage. You know, I don't know. You know, I'd like to see Floyd Mayweather fight Keith Thurman.
Do you think that would be a good fight?
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
At this stage in Ray Leonard's career, Ray would have been taking names and whooping behinds. You know? Ray Leonard, I mean,
Ray,
you know,
Ray was finished by 36 and them at that age though. He was finished.
Yeah. But I'm saying that he had been around this kind of mentality he had. When he fought Donnie Lalonde, Donnie Lalonde had him in big trouble. Yeah. Donnie Lalonde had him down, had him cut, and had him hurt. And mind you, Donnie Lalonde was the light heavyweight champion at that time.
Yeah, we spoke to him just the other week.
You know, yeah. And he was a big puncher, and he hurt Ray. So what I'm saying is, the point I was trying to make, Ray was in with a lot harder fighters, you know. I mean, I'm not saying that Floyd hasn't been in a hard fight, but the caliber of fighters now that Floyd is fighting is different from the caliber of fighters that Ray Leonard was fighting.
Yeah, you can't compare, you know, Hagler, Leonard, Benitez, Hearns, Kaluli. People don't know about Kaluli. You know, Lalonde. There's no comparison. There's no comparison.
Ayub Kalou was a tough fight for Ray Leonard. That was a very tough fight.
Yep. Very tough fight.
So, in your opinion, is Floyd the best ever?
No. He's the best businessman ever. No, he's the best businessman ever, but he's not the best fighter ever.
I'd agree. He's the best businessman ever. Yeah.
The best businessman ever.
No, he's right, though. He's right. I said that before. He has the best blueprint of how to convey your career if you want to be a successful boxer and not take damage. He's done it exactly right. But that doesn't mean you still need a skill set to do that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So,
Boston being better than Ray Robinson, Henry Armstrong, Aaron Pryor, Ray Leonard, Thomas. No. When you say the best ever, I mean, what does that embody? And what does that embody? What does that? I mean, I don't get it. I mean, you saying excitement? Does it the excitement?
Yeah.
Good fights? Because I'm thinking about fans too. I'm thinking about fans too. I ain't thinking about somebody just coming in there, you know, making a lot of money and then get out of there and, you know, I made my money and I'm out of here, so I fleece the fans. I'm talking about exciting fights. I got videotapes home, VCR tapes, stacks of them in my basement, in my apartment, and I sit back when I'm home and I spend a great deal of time watching those old fights. The early fights of John Mugabe, you know. I watch all these old guys, and I watch them all the way up to about 85, and then I start going back. I can't, after 85, everything starts getting watered down.
But isn't there a case that Floyd is just very good defensively? That's why his fights ain't as exciting as Ray. He's just very defensive-minded.
Again, I'm saying you can't knock him for protecting himself or being defensive-minded. But what about the fans that's paying for that $67? I want my money back.
But
I want my money back.
But they keep coming. They keep coming. They keep flooding out. So is the fan changed these days? Where they're not, you know, they appreciate the sweet science.
No, what it is? It's a new group of fans. Like they say, a sucker is born every day. We old suckers, and them as young suckers coming, so they'll be getting their money, and by the time they realize they spent their money for nothing, then they'll be mad like us.
Okay. Well, in all truth, then, we have to ask the question, if excitement, and it's a valid point, is going to go against Floyd's resume when we're weighing him up as one of the greatest, how will Klitschko, Wladimir, go down? in the history books, do you reckon? Because a lot of people say he's not exciting.
Yeah, well, I mean, Wladimir, the main thing about Floyd and Wladimir is that they're maintaining the championships, and it's up to those contenders to beat them. Let's get Keith Thurman in the fight, Floyd Mayweather Jr. Let's see how that works out. I mean, if you're too old, say you're too old and get out the way and let them come on up to the top. But if you're going to hang out and say you to TBE, then fight Keith Thurman.
I agree. I think he should fight Keith Thurman. I think he should.
Let's get it on. Let's get it. And this other kid that's coming, what's this other kid that I saw that was, Mayweather said he's the best sparring partner he's ever had.
Errol Spence, he's too green.
Errol.
He's too green.
Yeah.
He's too green.
Well, I ain't saying put Errol in there yet, but I'm saying Errol, they keep saying, every time I turn to a site, there's something about Errol Spencer. Let him go.
I think Errol Spence could beat Keith Thurman.
Good, let him go. Let's see him. We need something to generate excitement. Boxing is on the respirator, man. We come on. This boxing is in a coma here. Let somebody get boxing off the respirator. Bring up these young chargers and let them go.
You think it's really that bad? I'm not sure if it's that bad.
It's damn near that bad. Look at the undercards. Look at the undercard.
But that's just the mainstream. The Top Rank and the Golden Boys, they're not doing a very good job. But the Yagashi Roman Gonzalez fight was it a flyweight, Errol?
Yeah, flyweight.
That was a really good, exceptional fight, man.
But Seven's saying that Mr. Bashir is right, because I'm going down to flyweight to find excitement. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, to find good fights, and I'm getting them. But he's saying, like, mainly people are not getting it. Like,
the mainstream are doing a terrible job right now. They're doing a dreadful job. Yeah, of course they are. Yeah,
Mr. Bashir, you know about Roman Chocolito Gonzalez and Juan Frisco Estrada.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they have some great fights. Most of their fights in Spanish and in Japanese, and there's some fights down there. But I understand. So you really think it's in the respirator? You really think it's in a bad way?
I just think boxing overall needs some good fights to take it off the respirator. That's all. That's what I can say about boxing overall. Not just the flyweight or the bantamweight or whatever the weight. We need to get some good matchups.
Okay.
Not a fight where you know who's going to win the fight when they step in the ring. We need some competitive fights, even at the beginning. We got to get good fighters even at the beginning when they're 10-0 and 8-0. We need to get some good fights there to generate interest for the fights coming ahead. Years ago, it was commonplace for guys to come to the dance with 5 or 6 losses. Now, 5 or 6 losses mean that you're not going to be nothing. You understand? Because the promotions and the networks are interested in, he's undefeated. He's 37-0. But fighting who? In the old days, you had guys, especially in the heavyweight division, that would come to the dance with 4 or 5 losses. Mike Weaver came to fight for the heavyweight championship against Larry Holmes with 12 losses. He came to fight John Tate with 13 losses and knocked Tate out. So that doesn't tell the whole story because the guy got losses. It just tells that the guy is educated.
Okay, well, if that's the case, if you're saying it's down to the promoters, what can be done to bring these promoters in line? What can be done?
Nothing.
Because of money. It's money, yeah. You can't. Nothing, because it's money. Money wins all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at a dead sport, really. You might say it's like, at least at the mainstream level, it's dead, really.
All of the sports is virtually dead because it's all about money until they get somebody in there to stop the corruption, which is not likely. You understand? Corruption. You had a big shake up in the cricket thing. People was dollars and cents was being passed around to throw a game. You understand? College basketball, the ins and outs. You got people spending money on that. Money is the ruler of all.
Yes. So, what's your take on Floyd and the Ray Rice situation? Do you think he should have commented on that?
said that the NFL came down on Ray Rice. He was unjustified. But let me tell you something. My greatest fear has always been that my 4 girls would wind up with an abusive man. You know? With an abusive man. I've always feared that. And I've always prayed to God to say, please save my daughters from being involved with somebody. Here's a man that's supposed to be protecting you, and then he's beating the crap out of you, and then get caught on videotape. Well, I think that they came down on him, and they didn't come down on him hard enough or quick enough. They should have came down on him because he shouldn't have did that to the girl. You know, maybe I don't know the full story, but nothing justifies a man beating a woman like that.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree. Nothing does. But if the woman goes back to the man, then what can you really say? She marries him.
And I even told my own daughters about that. You know, if you have a falling out with a guy, leave him alone. Now, if you go back to him, you're on your own. Because I'm not going to be risking my life and risking the life of your brothers to come and save you, and you're going back to him. But that's battered woman syndrome. A lot of times, psychologically, these girls are messed up psychologically, and they think that it's all right to go back to him. They think that what happened to him is love.
Yeah.
And if without therapy, or somebody to jolt them or shock them and say, no, that's not love. You understand? Just getting off the Ray Rice need his ass kicked, all right? The uncle, the cousins, somebody should step up and whoop his ass. You understand? If that was one of my daughters, I would tell my sons, you're going to whoop the guy's ass, and if you don't speak to me again.
Yeah, but it's like what you say, though. You go whoop his ass, and then she goes back to him. And then, like you say, you're risking retaliation, your sons are risking jail time, but she's gone back to him. I mean...
Right. I just said it. It's battered woman syndrome. That's why I tell my daughters, or any woman, I'll go out on a limb this time, but if you go back, you're on your own. If you go back now, you're on your own. If I ever see you with this man again, you're on your own. Okay, game over. If you ever be with this man again, and I find out and I see it, then you're on your own, because I will not commission my boys to go put their life on the line over some BS like that.
100%. I agree.
I think that men hitting women, my first wife, I slapped her so hard one time, you know, out of anger, out of emotion. I slapped her so hard, I thought I had knocked her head off. I said, oh my God, what the? And then about 5 minutes later, I said, what in the world did I do? Because my son was doing something wrong, and I had warned him. He was doing something wrong. He was going to one of the neighborhood grocers' store, and he went and knocked a lot of bottles and stuff on the shelf, him and his friends playing, and caused about $500 worth of damage. And I wanted to pay the guy. The guy said, no, I don't want you to pay me. Just tell your sons don't play in my store. And about a month later, he did it again. I said, damn, I need to kick this boy's ass now. So I went to get my son, and she grabbed me while I was walking with my son. I had about an arm, and I had, you know how you have your son arm jacked up where his feet is just barely touching the ground. I'm gonna teach you a lesson today that I'm not playing with you. When I tell you to do something, I mean you're gonna do. And she caught me in that zone. I was so pissed with my son that she grabbed me from behind and said, wait a minute, I want to know what you're getting ready to do. No, I don't have to explain to you because he's my son too. I'm going to kick his ass because I told him about playing in this man's store. So when she grabbed me from behind, the way she grabbed me, it was like she was my boss or something. I turned around and I let myself and I slapped her so hard that I knocked on the ground. I said, God, I was so pissed with my son. And then I thought about it. I said, damn, I hit this girl. Did I break her jaw? Did I break her neck? You know, I started getting, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like an abuser when I did that, you know? I felt that I was being abusive, you know? But in marriage, you know, things happen, and I said, wow, I should have did that, you know? So I thought about my daughters. Sometimes things happen that you can't control. But when you beat a woman I'm talking about when you punching a woman with your fists and stuff like that's horrible. That's horrible.
Yeah, it's not ideal. It's not ideal.
It's now, as I grew on and got older, women get in my face, talk all kinds of stuff. But I get out of there. I take my palm of my hand and mush them. Get out of here. I just mush them. Get out of here. And get away from me, And I drive away or walk away or something, But that's as far as it ever got after that. I take my hand and just mush him. Get out of here, That made me feel a little better, Even though people say that's abusive too, but what am I gonna do? She's hit me in the head with a lampshade and all that other stuff, and I mean, what am I?
Oh shit, boy, man. Well, yeah, man. So what you see, Floyd, but you think Floyd is the modern day boxer, making sure he maximizes while he's at top, because a lot of guys when they're at top, like Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, they didn't maximize it and talk about Floyd endorsement deals with his merchandise. He's into this, he's into that. How you think him at the top, he's doing good for boxing? He's still the highest paid sportsman in the world right now, and keeping boxing. Basically, you could say, I know you say it's on a respirator, but he's basically keeping boxing alive, though, isn't it? It's still he still hits HD papers.
I'm that young man making his money. I ain't mad with that young man. I hope he make as much money as he possibly can. I just hope he holds on to his money. I hope he doesn't get in trouble or anything like that there. I'm happy for him. Go ahead and make your money, Floyd, and more power to you,
Okay, yeah.
Are there any throwback fighters? Do you think there are any throwback fighters these days? I'd say Hopkins has a case, and in a way Floyd has, but do you think there are really any throwback fighters today?
Hopkins is a con man. Bernard is sitting back. He's a wise old veteran. He's sitting back and he's looking at these inept fighters. The kid up in Canada, what's his name? Pascal and other guy, Tavares Cloud. And the old man sat back and said, you know what? These guys haven't even learned how to box. He sat back and watched Tavares Cloud, Pascal, and said, you know what? These guys can't even box. I can beat them. And he's right. Pascal has had the same people he had from the amateurs all the way to the pros, and they're trying to teach him how to box at the world-class level. He struggled with Hopkins in the first fight, and arguably he won the fight. But it should have been more like a draw or a split decision for Hopkins. And then Hopkins come back and beat him, and then go and beat Tavares Cloud. And I'm saying, what in the world is here? He got a guy that's old enough to be these guys' father, and they beating them. So it lets you know the condition of boxing. Everybody and their mother is a trainer now. Everybody and their mother is a trainer of boxers now. Everybody and their mother is involved in boxing. And more than 85, 90% of the people that's in boxing now don't know nothing about the sport, but they're making money off of boxers. And boxers are so stupid, so gullible that they got these people talking about my team. You ain't got no team. That's why an old man can come. If an old man came in and beat me, I'd fire my whole team. A guy come in 48, beat me. Everybody got to go. I got to get me a whole new damn team. Y'all, you guys let this happen. I'm blaming y'all. You guys let this happen. Y'all let an old guy come here. This guy's old enough to be my father, and he came here and beat me. You got to go. I'm sorry. This is business. The wife should have came and said, baby, you got to get rid of them because they let that old man come and beat you. You're 27. He's 48. Oh, no.
So you think
the same way. And Kovalev, yeah. He's got David Jackson now. So I don't suspect that's going to happen to Kovalev. But if he's not on his game, his A game, Hopkins will pick his pocket.
Who you got? What dog you got in that fight?
I got Kovalev by the unanimous decision. I think he's just going to be punching too hard and too aggressive for Hopkins. I don't think he's going to leave Hopkins alone long enough. And I don't think Hopkins can hurt him.
But that's not really Kovalev. Everyone says that he's not going to leave. That Kovalev sort of like picks his shots, doesn't he? Sort of thing.
He can't pick his shots in that fight because if he tries to box with Bernard Hopkins, he's going to lose that title.
Wow. I got a stat for you. The last time he's never been 12 rounds. The most rounds Kovalev's been is 7 rounds in his career. I checked that on BoxRec. 7 rounds.
Well, I'm sure that the powers that be, John David Jackson and company, is going to have him in shape to do those 12 rounds. But John David Jackson is going to also try to attack Bernard's body. I would have him to do that. I would have him to attack the body. I would have him go after Bernard Hopkins like a wrecking crew. No boxing. We're going to fight. I'd make that a fight right from the opening bell. Right from the opening bell. I'd have Hopkins looking at the referee complaining about something wrong and all the wrong he be committing on people. I'd have him looking over. I'd say, listen, this is what we need to do. We need to go in there and punch this guy right above the belt. Right where his navel button is. And I'd make it clear to the referee, I want to see the navel button on that cup every round. Otherwise, we just going to punch down there. All right? He got to break this old man down, break his legs down, break his biceps, his triceps. He got to beat on him. Because if he goes out there trying to play tit for tat with Hopkins, he'll lose.
Yep. Well, it's not that easy to get to Bernard's body. Like, the guy is crafty, like you say. He's a conman. It's going to be that's one of my favorite fights I'm looking forward to this year, actually.
If the guy cut the ring off, you guys got to cut the ring. It should be one of the things they should employ in the training camp is to cut the ring down. Cut that ring off and bang whatever is there. Everything above the waist is legal tender, so you punch everything there. You don't go in there with no specific design, trying to hit him in the head, hit him on the chin. You hit everything above the waist. That's how you wear the man down. This man is 50 years old.
Very true. Very true.
Chad Dawson in the second fight and Jermaine Taylor, they done more or less what you were saying. They kept him at distance and they kept popping him, but they weren't trying to stop him though. This is the thing. No one's trying to stop him. They ain't trying to go. Hopkins does something to them, and he gets into their head like they don't feel comfortable trying to stop him.
Kovalev's going to try to stop him because he knows he can't beat Hopkins boxing. Kovalev is going to try to stop him. He's going to try to be the first guy to ever stop Bernard Hopkins. Hopkins is aware of that, so he's going to be on his A game, slip and slide and stand to the side and all that greasy kid stuff. So you got one guy that's going to try to survive and steal points, and you got another guy that's going to come in there and try to bowl over him, I would have my guy use his forte, punching power, punch everything above the waist, punch his shoulders, his neck, everything he needs to punch. If he doesn't do that there, he's going to wind up being stripped of that title.
Wow. Well, that's it, boy. If you heard it first, boy. That's some great strategy right there. How to beat Hopkins, because I was picking Hopkins, man. But you're right. That's exactly like, make it a dog. Joe Calzaghe did that as well. Made it hard for him. He put up a lot of work rate, right? Threw a lot of punches.
Yeah. But Calzaghe was hustling.
Yeah, Mr. Bashir, we had here on YouTube, and me and Boxing Beat, we have arguments. Who won out of Hopkins and Joe Calzaghe, in your opinion?
With who?
Bernard Hopkins when he fought Joe Calzaghe. I know Joe Calzaghe officially won, but who do you think?
Calzaghe won the fight.
Thank you. That's what I try to tell people. Okay, man. Go on, Beats. Go, you ready?
You didn't argue with me about it. I had it a draw. I didn't argue.
Oh, all right. Fair enough.
Listen.
A lot of people was that's right.
Listen, he out-hustled the hustler.
That's what I said. He did. And he took away from him in the late rounds, right?
You understand? You remember what Joe Frazier did with Ali in the first fight?
Yeah.
Joe Frazier just hustling, man. Joe Frazier said, I can't beat this dude boxing. Joe Frazier said, I cannot beat this dude boxing, but guess what? I'm going to be on your ass like a lawnmower. Everywhere you go, I'm going to be right there on your ass. And that's what what's his name? Kovalev. He's got to be there on Hopkins' case. He got to be on his case. He can't let him breathe.
But in saying that, man, like, Ali landed the more accurate punches. I think it was just not the left hook that won it for, I think it was a very close fight.
He was getting beat up.
What fight?
The first one you talk about, right, Beats?
Ali wasn't getting beat up.
Who won the fight? Who won the fight between Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler?
I had Hagler winning.
I got Red Leonard winning, man.
Ray Leonard out-hustled him.
Yep, there you go.
He hustled him, man. No way you could. If you score a fight on points, you've got to give it to Ray Leonard.
Yeah.
Hagler came out to the first 4 rounds trying to box as a righty. What kind of stuff was that?
Yeah, gave away the rounds. Yeah, that's right.
So
you get away the first 4 rounds. You get away the first 4 rounds against Ray Leonard. Are you out of your mind?
Yeah. Yeah. So how did he win the fight? Yeah, yeah.
Did you watch Sean Porter and Kell Brook? Who did you have winning that then?
It was a close fight, but Kell Brook again out-hustled him.
Yeah, thank you. We're gonna talk about Lara and Canelo in a second as well, though. Yeah, that's right. Tell him, Mr. Bashir. Go break it. Go break it down.
Out-hustled him. It was about hustling.
That's right.
Kell Brook did a little shoe shot, pop, 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 and just tied him up and moved away from him.
Yes. Yes.
He gave him a boxing lesson.
Yes. 101. Yeah, Mr. Bashir.
He gave him a boxing lesson.
You had a drawer, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know, but still. But I thought he won the fight anyway. When he looked back at it, I
thought the scale.
No, you know why I didn't draw? Because I thought the judges weren't going to give it to him. But yeah, go on, Mr. Bashir.
And I'm glad that Kell Brook won it because it showed you that there is some justice in boxing. You know, I thought they were going to give it to Porter, but they gave it to Kell. They gave it to the right guy.
Yeah.
You know, won the fight.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Mr. Bashir. What about Lara and Canelo? I had Canelo winning the fight. Who'd you have it?
I had Canelo winning the fight.
Oh my, Mr. Bashir knows. Why? Tell the people why, please.
Clean, effective punching.
Yes, that's right.
Clean, effective punching.
Mr. Bashir knows, man. He knows, man.
He didn't land any, but cleaner, he didn't land any headshots.
Listen. Laura did some good things out there, but he did not engage enough. This guy was the effective aggressor throughout the fight. And when he punched, you could see the result of that punching. You know, Laura was in the fight, but I would have gave the fight to Canelo. When they kept telling me about this and that, that Laura won the fight, when I watched the fight, I said, well, you know, I don't know. I sat back and I watched the fight twice, and I said, I got to go with Canelo. You know, I got to go with him. And I wanted Laura to win. I was voting for Laura. I wanted Laura to win. But he didn't win the fight. I wouldn't have gave it to him. If I was a judge, I wouldn't have given it to him.
All right. There's some people in the comment section right now, because this is live going out on YouTube. They've got a couple of questions for you, Mr. Bashir. All right. Yeah. The first question I've got for is triathlon. What's your opinion about Triple G? And as an exciting fighter, he's fighting and dominating. He's fighting and dominating what's there. But I still would like to see Triple G fight the likes of Hagler, Leonard, Hearns, you know, Michael Nunn, and Gerald McClellan, Ben. Those guys that would be there to win too. Most of the people that's fighting Triple G comes into the ring defeated. They come into the ring as though they saw a ghost or something, you know. So I don't put much stock in that, but he's a good fighter. What's your choice? He also asks us, what's his choice of opponents? What do you think about his choice of opponents?
I think they are B- fighters, you know, that's there to make him look like a monster.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. I got another guy. Sorry, Beats. I got another guy in the comment section. He says, "What's your opinion? Your opinion on Chris Eubank Jr.? He's fighting Billy Joe Saunders, by the way, in November. But what's your thoughts on Eubank Jr.?
I like what I see thus far. I like what I see thus far in Chris Eubank Jr. The time remains to see how good is he really is. But right now, you can't tell, you know.
Okay.
Cool. What I was going to ask you is, what do you make of what's happened to Andre Ward's career?
It's sad because I read where you know nobody wants to fight him. So if you can't get the top, you're the champion. If you can't get the top guys to fight you, then fight the guys right under them. And if you can't get the guys right under them, fight the guys right under them. but you need to fight. You understand? You need to go out and fight. You need to keep your machinery oiled and ready to go. And if you can't get nothing there, move up to light heavy. Move up to light heavy. It'd be an interesting fight between him and Stevenson. Stevenson don't have a dance partner. So if he would make that fight right now, that could be a big fight.
Okay, what's your, someone else asked, yeah? What's your opinion of Adrian Broner versus Manuel Marquez? And my thing is, what's your opinion of Adrian Broner full stop on his last performance? He might be Marquez.
One Manuel Marquez is Humpty Dumpty sitting on the wall, I mean, he's an old guy at that weight class, and with all the ring skills and prowess he brings, you never know when he's going to go. Did they make the fight between Broner and Marquez?
No, they're talking about it now. But do you see his performance in his last performance? Adrian Broner.
Last performance, he struggled. In my opinion, he was struggling. That kid was on him. That kid was on him, and he didn't win the fight running away. He did enough to win, but I wasn't that impressed with the win. It was a good fight between two good fighters, and that kid was on him. Broner is just an iffy subject right now. I don't see no improvement in him. I don't see any big improvement in him.
Do you think he's regressed from where he was before, where he was dominant at lightweight?
No, I just think he's getting in with better fighters.
That's true.
He's in with better fighters.
That's true.
And he's got to make adjustments at the higher weight because he didn't stay at that weight very long. He just went up, so he's got to make adjustments.
Okay, what do you think about his antics and, talking about dry humping on dudes and just the all-round, the money in the toilet and just all-round antics? Like, you're old school in that.
It just lets you know the level that boxing has sunken to. Where there's not a lot of class, a lot of finesse that's being shown. It's just, this is what I want to do, and I don't care who it offends. I don't care about the young children out there watching. This is the way I want to do it because I think this is cool. And it's not cool. It's very disrespectful, derogatory, and it's not helping anybody. It's not helping the sport.
It's very hard to argue with what you said there. It's it's no sense arguing it. You're right. Degenerate. It's very degenerate.
Yeah. I mean, you got young kids in the amateurs around the world that's watching this kind of stuff, and you're not setting any kind of an example. We want to try to let the sport live on. We don't want to do things that's derogatory or demeaning to the sport. I've always tried to be a father figure to the guys that I train. Yeah, we laugh, we joke, we have some fun and joke around, but when we go to the main site of the world, we want to go out there as representatives of the sport and show people that we are boxing. We are the face of boxing. Broner is in a powerful position because he's well known stuff. He acts like some kind of a guy that just broke out of an insane asylum or zoo or something. And he thinks that that's all right. And the people around him think that that's all right.
Yeah.
Obviously, nobody has stood up to him and said this is not right or that's not right for fear that they might lose their job or something. Mm-hmm. But you're going around looking like court jesters and buffoons and stuff, and it doesn't do well,
Yeah, but he's one apple out of the bunch, one bad apple, you could say. I don't think there's a whole load of boxers acting like him. Or is there? He just seems like you're normally he's acting like an idiot at times.
The notable boxers, he's the one that's standing out, you know.
Yeah.
But there's some clowns out there. There's some clowns out there that think that it's all right for him to conduct himself like that. I don't come from that school of thought, you know. My mother raised me differently. And to this day, you know, when I'm doing something, I always feel that my mother is watching me. Even though my mother's deceased, I always get this feeling that she's right there watching me. And I can hear her saying, "Don't do that. Don't you do that. Don't you humiliate our family like that."
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I'm getting old, you know, because I love rap music, but I don't like rappers coming out to bring boxers out. I don't like it. I don't know why. I don't like it. I wasn't used to that. I don't like it. You don't like it either?
No, I don't like it.
No, never do it. It's not.
No, they say show business, but that's that.
Yeah.
It's distasteful, you know.
I don't like rappers coming out.
Then Broner's coming out, you know, with the N-word and I'm saying even the rappers, they need to dump that stuff.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that. If you got skills, you don't have to use the N-word.
Yeah.
It's not all right to the listening audience out there. It's not all right because the N-word was designed to be derogatory, a derogatory word meant to be offensive to black people.
Yeah. The stupidest thing is, though, I was like, they think by spelling it Nigga makes a difference. And I felt that the most ludicrous. I can't understand the stupidity of that.
No. Because it all equates the same thing, the same demeaning thing. You understand? It was started by the Europeans, and we come along and perpetuate it.
Yeah.
I don't like it, you know, and I let anybody in the world know I don't like it. I don't care if that is your thing. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, don't call me that.
Respect me. Don't do it around me because I don't like it.
Yeah, you might get checked. Give them a checkbook, innit?
I'm just, you know, I don't like it, you know. I think that is another way to express yourself. You don't just have to do it, you know, and they say it like it's all right. It irks me. It's like somebody got a little pocket knife sticking it in me every time they say it. I hear the word, like somebody got a little pocket knife just digging into me, you know. But, you know, it's
different time.
I'm never going to accept it.
100%, man.
So, I agree. Go ahead, Beats.
I don't know. I'm maxed out, and I have to go out the road.
Okay. Well, hey, for sure, man. Hey, we appreciate you giving your time and that.
Let's say something before I go.
Yeah.
I think that's important for us to say things while we're alive, you know, because you never know when our time is up. So I want to take the time out to say I thank and appreciate those men over the years who have given me audience, who have given me the respect of entrusting their careers and their lives ultimately with me. Maurice Harris, Jamil McCline, Shannon Briggs, Monty Barrett, Aaron Pryor Jr. These people stand out most noteworthy in my mind, you know, and all the other young men that I've trained over the years, Andre Perlette, you know, all of these people, they mean something to me because they gave me a platform. Wladimir Klitschko, Vitaly Klitschko, Muhammad Ali, Lennox Lewis, all of these people gave me a platform in by which to teach what I had been taught. You know, and I came the slow road in boxing. So I take my hat off to those men because those guys were doing the fighting. They were getting in the ring. And they were entrusting themselves to me, you know, and I respect them. and I've broke bread with them. I've talked with them. I've communicated with them. So regardless of where they at now, what they're doing now, I pay homage to them, especially to Maurice Harris, especially to him, because he did a lot for a guy that didn't have no amateur career. Jamil McCline did a lot for a guy that didn't have no amateur career. So I got nothing but respect for those guys.
Yeah.
Because they went into professional boxing, one of the most dangerous occupations that there is, and they went above and beyond my expectations and anybody else's. You know?
Yeah.
When you got guys like Maurice Harris and Jamil McCline, they went pretty high in the heavyweight divisions. And them guys didn't have no amateur background.
But Jamil McCline's in politics now. How did he get into that? And he seems to be doing pretty well.
Who knows? Jamil's an intelligent guy, so who knows how he got there, you know? I mean, who knows? You know, Jamil is a very resourceful guy. He's not the run-of-the-mill guy out in the streets. He's a very intelligent human being. Mm. You know, and he knows about life. He knows about politics. He knows about religion. He knows about politics. He knows he's a pretty alert guy, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
I just want to thank you to those guys, and I appreciate you, you know? And now I'm here with Oleksandr Usyk, a young man that could have had any number of trainers in the world to train him, but out of everybody, he chose me, you know?
Yeah,
I'm respectful of that, and I try to do the best job that I can, you know? He could have had anybody. He's the Olympic gold medalist, so he could have sat back. He could still be sitting back right now with a toothpick in his mouth saying, this is what I wanted to train you. But out of everybody, he chose me.
That definitely means something. That definitely means an Olympic gold medalist, you know?
Yeah.
That definitely means
Olympic gold medalist, an Olympic gold medalist from the Ukraine who doesn't even speak the same language as I do, that never saw me before in life other than the 3 days that we spent together in Wladimir Klitschko's camp. That was the 3 days we spent together. That was the first time that we had ever met each other, ever saw each other, and we worked those 3 days. And in those 3 days, our chemistries clicked. And when he turned pro, he said, "You're going to be my trainer." So I respect that, man. That's really deep to me. Yeah. Oh, don't. Thank you to Jonathan Banks too, because I trained Jonathan for 3 fights. There was countless guys that I trained. So I'm thankful to those guys because they gave me platform. Yeah, Jonathan Banks too, and all these other guys, the young guys that's coming and stuff. You know, a lot of guys gave me a lot of respect and helped me get to where I'm at. And Oleksandr Usyk is no exception either, because he out of everybody, he chose me. He chose me, and I'm grateful for that. It speaks volumes about what I have to offer the sport. You got people out there saying that they're trainers, they're this and that and that. Most of the guys out here that call themselves trainers, and I watch it all over the world. Here in the Ukraine, Germany, France, Italy, South Africa, most of the people out there saying that they're trainers could not teach a dog to scratch fleas. Now, how difficult would that be? They can't teach a dog to scratch fleas. They're teaching boxers wrong, which accounts for why boxing is in such a ragged condition, because you got people who wake up in the morning and say, "I'm going to be a boxing trainer." And there's no test or no criteria for being a boxing trainer. That's why you wonder why boxing is in the condition that it's in. That's why boxing has so many fly-by-night trainers. So when you get a guy like Floyd Mayweather Jr., Vladimir Klitschko...
Hey, please, I'm getting feedback, you know.
Oh, is that me, yeah?
Yeah, please, yeah. If you don't mind, you can mute, yeah? Go on, Mr. Bashir, continue.
When you find champions like Vladimir Klitschko and Vitaly Klitschko and Floyd Mayweather Jr. or any of those other long-standing champions, you got to pay homage to them, because it's not their fault about the condition of boxing. It's if they're so bad, where's the contenders to remove them out of the spot? Vote them out. get rid of them. But yet still every contender comes there, they turn them back. So I mean, what are you going to do? Who you? I mean, you got to start looking at the contenders and say they must not be nothing.
Well, that's right.
If you're saying that he's not this, he's not that, then where are the contenders to remove them?
Well,
that's true.
From what you're saying, where are the trainers? Where are the coaches?
Got a couple of good ones. When's your guy in the ring again? You're used to enough. When's he in the ring?
Usyk. What's his name?
Oleksandr.
Yeah.
Oleksandr Usyk. Usyk.
Alexander Houston. Yeah. Usyk. When's he in the ring next?
October the 4th.
October the 4th. On a card? Is he on the undercard of the?
No. We're fighting here in the Ukraine. We're fighting for the WBO cruiserweight championship, the Intercontinental title, the WBO Intercontinental title. This is his 5th pro fight, and we're going for the WBO Intercontinental title. Yeah. And we're looking to fight. Hernandez, Huck, or either Lebedev with 10 fights. We want to try to break Evander Holyfield's record. We're looking to pursue the title within 10 fights.
Yeah, we've got Mashuno. What about Mashuno? You cruiserweight? You want to fight Mashuno?
Achuna's fighting this week. What do you think about Achuna? He's fighting this week as well.
Who's he fighting this week?
1 second. He's fighting Garnett Wilson.
Garrett Williams. Garrett.
Yeah, Garrett Williams.
He'll beat Garrett.
Yeah.
I think he'll beat Garrett. He'll beat Garrett. Garrett's a tough guy, but he's tailor-made for this guy. The guy is a counterpuncher, a pretty good counterpuncher. You know, like Machuno, he's tight punches and stuff. I thought that he was fighting Ola Afolabi for the title, you know. Okay. But Machuno should beat Garrett. Yeah, that'll be good. I'm looking out for the time, man, because I can try and watch your fight and do some commentary. Cause I do commentary these days, so try and if it's gonna be in obviously in the Ukraine Russian language, and I'll do some commentary. And it sounds good, man. It sounds like you got a good YouTube right now and look at Oleksandr Usyk.
Yeah.
USYK. Alexander SANDR. You know, Oleksandr Usyk. And he's a pretty good fighter. He's a pretty good puncher, too. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to check him out, man.
Yep, I will definitely do that.
That was talking with you guys, and let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, no doubt.
Thanks very much, man. We'll talk soon.
It's late at night. You guys got me up. I mean, I'd be asleep now. You guys got me up late at night talking boxing and stuff.
Yeah, we appreciate every time you come talking, man, because we have a great talk with you. Yeah. And hey, good luck with you stuff, and yeah, we'll catch up after, man.
Okay. All right. Look forward to hearing you guys.
Yeah,
okay.
definitely.
Take care.
Take care.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bishop.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Yeah.